There is no specific section within the National Electrical Code (NEC) that explicitly prohibits a meter base, mast, disconnect enclosure, or other related service equipment from obstructing a window. While the NEC focuses primarily on safety and proper electrical function, it doesn't typically regulate aesthetics or views. Therefore, the customer's concern about the meter obstructing the window's view is not directly addressed by the NEC. However, several factors should be considered when determining the placement of electrical service equipment. Firstly, you must adhere to all applicable local codes and utility requirements. These may have specific rules about the location of meters and service entrances, including clearances from windows, doors, and other building features. Always check with the local authorities having jurisdiction, OJ, and the utility company before starting any work. Secondly, the NEC does address working clearances and access to electrical equipment. Section 110.26 of the NEC specifies the required working space around electrical equipment, including service equipment, to ensure safety for electricians and other qualified personnel who may need to work on the equipment. These clearances are based on the voltage of the system and the presence of grounded or ungrounded objects in the vicinity. While this section doesn't directly prohibit obstructing a window, it does emphasize the importance of providing adequate space for safe operation and maintenance. Thirdly, consider the physical constraints and layout of the building. The location of the service entrance conductors, grounding electrodes, and other components may influence the placement of the meter and disconnect. The NEC provides rules about the routing and protection of service entrance conductors, ensuring that they are installed in a safe and reliable manner. Fourthly, the location of the meter in relation to the point where the conductors emerge from the conduit is also a factor. Even if the point where the conductors emerge is more than 3 feet from the window, the meter itself may still obstruct the window. It is important to visualize the final installation to ensure that it meets both code requirements and the customer's aesthetic preferences. Fifthly, the presence of a 90-degree inside corner presents unique challenges for meter placement. Attaching the meter to the corner may require special mounting hardware and careful consideration of conduit routing. It is important to ensure that the installation is structurally sound and that the meter is properly supported. Sixthly, even though the window is not a bedroom window where emergency egress codes might apply, consider the overall impact on the building's aesthetics and functionality. A large meter and disconnect enclosure may detract from the building's appearance and potentially reduce the amount of natural light entering the room. Seventhly, the customer's preference should be taken into account whenever possible, as long as it doesn't conflict with code requirements or compromise safety. In this case, the customer has politely insisted that the new meter be attached at a 90-degree inside corner of his house, near a window. While this may not be the ideal location from an aesthetic standpoint, it is important to consider the customer's wishes and try to find a solution that meets their needs while still complying with all applicable codes and regulations. Eighthly, in situations where the customer's preferred location is not feasible, it is important to explain the reasons why and offer alternative solutions. This may involve suggesting a different location for the meter, modifying the conduit routing, or using a different type of enclosure. It is important to communicate clearly and respectfully with the customer, and to work together to find a solution that is acceptable to both parties. Ninthly, the type of meter and disconnect enclosure used can also affect the overall appearance of the installation. There are many different styles and sizes of meters and enclosures available, and it may be possible to select a model that is less obtrusive or that blends in better with the building's architecture. Tenthly, consider the long-term implications of the meter placement. The meter should be located in a place where it is easily accessible for reading and maintenance. It should also be protected from damage from weather, vandalism, or accidental impact. Section 230.70 of the NEC requires that the service disconnecting means be readily accessible. This means that the disconnect must be located in a place where it can be easily reached in case of an emergency. 11thly, if the installation involves underground service conductors, the location of the meter may be influenced by the location of the underground conduit. The NEC provides rules about the depth and protection of underground conductors, ensuring that they are installed in a safe and reliable manner. 12thly, consider the potential for future modifications or additions to the electrical system. The meter should be located in a place where it can be easily upgraded or expanded if necessary. This may involve leaving extra space around the meter for future conduit runs or equipment installations. 13thly, the NEC requires that all electrical equipment be properly grounded to ensure safety and prevent electrical shock. The grounding electrode system should be installed in accordance with the NEC, and the meter and disconnect enclosure should be properly bonded to the grounding system. Section 250.24 of the NEC specifies the requirements for grounding service-supplied alternating current (AC) systems. This section requires that the grounding electrode conductor be connected to the grounded service conductor at the service equipment. 14thly, the NEC requires that all electrical work be performed by qualified personnel. Only licensed electricians or other qualified individuals should install or modify electrical service equipment. This ensures that the work is done safely and in accordance with all applicable codes and regulations. 15thly, before starting any electrical work, it is important to obtain all necessary permits and approvals from the local authorities having jurisdiction. This ensures that the work is inspected and approved to meet all applicable codes and regulations. 16thly, after the electrical work is completed, it is important to thoroughly test the installation to ensure that it is working properly and that it meets all applicable codes and regulations. This may involve performing voltage tests, continuity tests, and ground fault tests. 17thly, the NEC requires that all electrical equipment be properly labeled to identify its function and voltage. This helps to prevent accidental contact with energized parts and ensures that the equipment is used safely. 18thly, consider consulting with a qualified electrical engineer to review the installation plans and ensure that they meet all applicable codes and regulations. An electrical engineer can provide expert advice on the design and installation of electrical systems and can help to identify and resolve potential problems before they occur. 19thly, the NEC provides rules about the use of surge protective devices, SPDs, to protect electrical equipment from voltage surges. SPDs should be installed in accordance with the NEC, and they should be properly sized and rated for the specific application. 20thly, the NEC requires that all electrical equipment be maintained in good working order. Regular inspections and maintenance can help to prevent electrical hazards and ensure that the equipment is operating safely and efficiently. 21stly, in the absence of a specific code prohibiting the obstruction of a window, it becomes a matter of professional judgment and customer relations. Try to find a compromise that addresses the customer's concerns while still meeting all applicable codes and regulations. 22ndly, if the customer is still not satisfied with the proposed location of the meter, consider offering to install a decorative screen or other type of concealment to hide the meter from view. This may be a way to improve the aesthetics of the installation without compromising safety or code compliance. 23rdly, document all communication with the customer, including any agreements or compromises that are made. This can help to avoid misunderstandings and ensure that everyone is on the same page. 24thly, it is crucial to prioritize safety above all else. Never compromise safety to accommodate a customer's aesthetic preferences. Always follow the NEC and other applicable codes and regulations to ensure that the electrical installation is safe and reliable. 25thly, remember that the NEC is a minimum standard. It is always permissible to exceed the requirements of the NEC if doing so improves safety or performance. 26thly, consider the impact of the installation on the surrounding environment. Try to minimize the visual impact of the meter and disconnect enclosure, and avoid disturbing any natural vegetation or wildlife. 27thly, be aware of any potential hazards that may be present on the job site, such as overhead power lines, underground utilities, or hazardous materials. Take appropriate precautions to protect yourself and others from these hazards. 28thly, use only high-quality materials and equipment that are listed or certified for their intended use. This ensures that the materials and equipment meet industry standards for safety and performance. 29thly, install the meter and disconnect enclosure in a neat and workmanlike manner. This not only improves the appearance of the installation, but also makes it easier to maintain and troubleshoot. 30thly, double check all connections and terminations to ensure that they are tight and secure. Loose connections can cause overheating and electrical fires. 31stly, protect the meter and disconnect enclosure from physical damage. Install guards or barriers if necessary to prevent damage from vehicles, equipment, or vandalism. 32ndly, ensure that the meter and disconnect enclosure are properly ventilated to prevent overheating. Follow the manufacturer's recommendations for ventilation requirements. 33rdly, if the installation involves working at heights, use appropriate fall protection equipment. This may include harnesses, lanyards, and safety nets. 34thly, be aware of the potential for arc flash hazards when working on energized electrical equipment. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, PPE, such as arc flash suits, gloves, and face shields. 35thly, follow lockout-tagout procedures when working on the energized electrical equipment. This prevents accidental re-energization of the equipment while work is being performed. 36thly, keep the work area clean and organized. This helps to prevent accidents and makes it easier to find tools and materials. 37thly, properly dispose of all waste materials. This includes scrap wire, conduit, and packaging materials. 38thly, be respectful of the customer's property. Avoid damaging landscaping or other features of the property. 39thly, communicate regularly with the customer to keep them informed of the progress of the work. This helps to build trust and ensure that the customer is satisfied with the results. 40thly, obtain feedback from the customer after the work is completed. This can help you to improve your service and identify areas where you can do better in the future. In summary, while the NEC doesn't specifically address the obstruction of a window by electrical service equipment, consider all relevant factors including local codes, utility requirements, working clearances, building layout, customer preferences, and safety when determining the placement of the meter and disconnect. The goal is to find a solution that meets all applicable codes and regulations while also addressing the customer's concerns to the greatest extent possible.